Captain Park stood at the observation window of Orbital Platform 7, watching Earth turn slowly below him. The blue oceans and green lands looked peaceful from up here. He could see the lights of Seoul beginning to glow as night crept across the Korean peninsula. His younger sister was down there somewhere, visiting for the weekend. She had sent him a message that morning, complaining about the crowds at the train station. He smiled at the memory, then the alarm started screaming. Ran to the command center. The screens showed something impossible. 12 massive ships had appeared from nowhere, hanging in Earth's orbit like dark mountains. Each one was larger than anything humanity had ever built. They blocked out the stars behind them. "What are those?" someone whispered. Before anyone could answer, a message came through every communication channel on Earth. The voice was cold and spoke in perfect Korean, English, Chinese, and 100 other languages at the same time. "People of this world, we are the Dominion. We have ruled this galaxy for 12,000 years. We have conquered 300 species. Your world now belongs to us. You will surrender immediately. Resistance is extinction." Felt his blood turn cold. This was not a drill. This was not a movie. Aliens had come to Earth and they wanted everything. The leaders of Earth sent a response asking for time to discuss. They asked for proof that the Dominion was real. They asked questions that seemed reasonable. The Dominion answered with fire. 3 beams of light shot down from the alien ships. They struck Mumbai first. Then Lagos. Watched on the screens as 3 of Earth's greatest cities simply disappeared. Where millions of people had lived and worked and loved, there was now only burning glass and ash. 40 million people died in less than 1 hour. The platform shook as people screamed and cried, gripped the railing and forced himself to breathe. His hands were shaking. His mind kept showing him the images of those cities burning. Children, families, gone in an instant. "They're monsters," someone said. Said nothing. He was thinking about his sister in Seoul. He tried to call her. The lines were jammed. Everyone on Earth was trying to reach someone they loved. Admiral's voice came over the military channel. The old man sounded calm, but could hear the rage beneath his words. "All ships of the United Earth Defense Force. This is Admiral. We have 18 vessels. They have 12. The math doesn't matter. Those things just murdered 40 million of our people. We're going to show them that humans don't surrender. We're going to show them that we fight. Follow me." The 18 ships of Earth's fleet launched toward the alien armada, watched from the platform, unable to look away. The human ships looked like toys compared to the Dominion dreadnoughts. The battle lasted 11 minutes. Earth's ships fired everything they had: missiles, lasers, kinetic rounds. Most of their weapons bounced off the alien shields like rain off a window, but one ship, the destroyer Indomitable, managed to find a weak point in a smaller Dominion frigate. The explosion lit up the darkness of space. It was humanity's only victory that day. The Dominion ships turned their weapons on Earth's fleet and erased them from existence. Admiral's final transmission echoed across the world. "We are not insects, remember us." Then there was silence. Stood frozen at the window, 18 ships, thousands of sailors, gone. Admiral, who had trained when he was just a young officer, was dead. All of them were dead. But they had hurt the enemy. One ship, it wasn't much, but it proved something important. The Dominion could bleed. Over the next 3 days, Dominion landing craft descended on every continent. Their soldiers were tall, gray-skinned creatures with 4 arms and eyes that showed no emotion. They expected the humans to kneel. They expected surrender. They did not understand humans at all. In Seoul, an old grandmother threw boiling water on a Dominion soldier trying to enter her home. In New York, police officers and gang members fought side by side against alien patrols. In Cairo, a teacher led her students through tunnels to escape capture, then returned with a stolen alien weapon to free others. Everywhere the Dominion landed, they met resistance. Not organized armies at first, just ordinary people who refused to accept that their world was no longer their own. Shopkeepers, students, farmers, doctors, they fought with guns, with knives, with rocks, with their bare hands. The Dominion had conquered 300 species. Not one of them had ever fought like this. Finally received a message from his sister. She was alive. She was hiding in a basement with 30 other people. The Dominion had occupied most of Seoul, but pockets of resistance were forming everywhere. "Opa," her message said, "they killed Mrs. Park from the flower shop. She threw a chair at one of them when they tried to take her grandson. I'm scared, but I'm not going to let them take me either. Whatever happens, I love you." Read the message 7 times. Then he gathered the other military personnel on the platform. "We can't stay here," he said. "The Dominion will come for this station eventually. We need to get down to Earth and join the resistance. We need to fight." Someone asked, "What's the point? You saw what happened to the fleet. We can't beat them." Thought about Admiral's last words. He thought about his grandmother's stories of the Korean War, when people had nothing and still refused to give up. He thought about every time in human history when someone had said, "You cannot win," and humans had won anyway. "We hurt them today," he said. "One ship, that's a start. We'll learn their technology, we'll find their weaknesses, we'll build new weapons, and one day we'll make them pay for every single person they killed. They think they conquered Earth. They're wrong. They just woke up the entire human race." Outside the window, Earth burned in patches where the Dominion had struck, but it was still there, still turning, still alive. And humanity was just getting started. 5 years had passed since the sky burned. Lee crouched in the ruins of what used to be a shopping mall inn. Her clothes were torn and dirty. Her hair was cut short because long hair was dangerous in combat. A scar ran down her left cheek, a gift from a Dominion soldier who was now dead. She was 26 years old. 5 years ago, she had been a university student studying literature. She had liked coffee shops and romance novels and arguing with her friends about movies. That person felt like a stranger now. The Dominion had killed her entire family in the second year of occupation. Her parents, her little brother, her grandmother. They had died in a reprisal attack after resistance fighters destroyed a Dominion supply depot. The aliens believed that killing civilians would make humans give up. They were wrong. Had stopped crying long ago. Now she only felt cold determination. She led a resistance cell of 43 fighters. They had killed over 200 Dominion soldiers in the past year. The aliens had started calling her the ghost of it because she struck without warning and vanished into the ruins. Tonight, they were planning something bigger than usual. Park had found her 3 years ago, half-starved and trying to make a bomb from kitchen chemicals. He had trained her, taught her how to really fight. Now he commanded all resistance operations in the Korean peninsula and was one of his best cell leaders. His voice came through her small radio. "Ghost team, what's your status?" "Ready," whispered. "The convoy will pass in 10 minutes. "Good. Remember, we want the equipment intact. Kill the soldiers, take the cargo, disappear." "Understood." Signaled her team. They moved like shadows through the broken buildings, taking positions along the road. The Dominion had learned to fear these ambushes, but they still needed to move supplies, and humans were everywhere. The convoy appeared, 3 hover vehicles carrying technology from a captured research facility. The Dominion used force fields and energy weapons that humans could not build yet. But Doctor, working in a hidden laboratory deep underground, had been taking apart every piece of alien technology the Resistance could steal. She was learning their secrets. The ambush was fast and brutal. Fighters attacked from 6 directions at once. They used captured alien weapons mixed with human-made explosives. The Dominion soldiers were good fighters, but they expected enemies to follow patterns. Humans never did. In 4 minutes it was over. 12 Dominion soldiers lay dead. 2 Resistance fighters had been killed. Felt the familiar ache of loss but pushed it aside. There would be time to mourn later. "Cargo secured," she reported, moving to extraction point. Far away, in an underground bunker that used to be a subway station, Doctor received the news. She was a small woman with tired eyes and hands that never stopped moving. Before the invasion, she had been a quantum physicist working on theoretical faster-than-light travel. Now she worked on survival. The equipment arrived 3 days later. His team unpacked it carefully, their eyes wide with excitement. "This is it," said. "This is a navigation computer from one of their ships. If I can understand how their faster-than-light engines work, we can build our own." Her assistant, a young man named who had been an engineering student, looked doubtful. "Can we really build ships? We're hiding in holes in the ground." Smiled, it was not a happy smile. "The Dominion thinks we're primitives. They think we're insects waiting to be stepped on, but humans have been building things in impossible conditions for thousands of years. We built pyramids without machines. We split the atom in wartime. We put men on the moon with computers weaker than a phone. We will build ships, we will build a fleet, and we will make them regret ever finding our planet." The news from the Dominion side was not good for them. Commander the Patient was the 3rd commander assigned to pacify Earth. His 2 predecessors had been executed for failure. He sat in his command center in what used to be Geneva, reading reports that made his 4 hands clench with frustration. 5 years. 5 years of fighting these creatures, and humanity controlled more territory than ever. His forces held the major cities, but the countryside belonged to the resistance. Every supply line was a target. Every patrol was an ambush waiting to happen. His soldiers were afraid to leave their bases. In 12,000 years, the Dominion had never faced this. Conquered species surrendered. They accepted their place. They became servants, but humans refused to understand that they had lost. Made a decision. If gentle conquest would not work, then terror would. He ordered his ships to destroy Earth's moon. The humans had loved their moon. They had written songs about it. They had walked on its surface. It hung in their sky like a symbol of hope. Would take it from them. The Dominion fleet fired their main weapons at the moon for 6 hours. When they finished, the moon was broken into thousands of pieces. Some fell toward Earth, causing massive tsunamis and earthquakes. Millions more humans died. The tides went insane. The nights became darker. Broadcast his message to the survivors. "This is what happens when you resist. Surrender now, or we will do the same to your planet." He expected the humans to finally break. Instead, something changed in the resistance. Before, they had been fighting to survive, to protect their families, to hold on to some piece of their world. Now they were fighting for revenge. Park gathered his commanders in a hidden meeting. His face was stone, but his eyes burned with cold fire. "They destroyed our moon," he said. "They murdered millions more of our people. They think this will make us give up." He looked around the room at the hardened faces of his fighters. "They don't understand us at all. We're not going to give up. We're not going to hide forever. We're going to build weapons they can't imagine. We're going to find allies among the other species they've enslaved. And one day, we're going to burn their empire to ash." Lee stood in the back of the room. She thought about her family. She thought about the moon breaking apart in the sky. She thought about all the death and pain of the past 5 years. She had stopped being scared long ago. Now she was something else, something the Dominion had created by trying to destroy her. She was angry, and human anger, as the Dominion was slowly learning, was the most dangerous force in the galaxy. In her underground laboratory, Doctor worked through the night, every night. She was close to understanding the alien technology. She could feel it. The secrets of faster-than-light travel were almost within her grasp. The Dominion thought they were winning. They thought humanity was breaking. They had no idea what was being built in the darkness beneath their feet. The Dominion believed they had won. After 8 years of occupation, Commander reported to the High Council that Earth was contained. Yes, there were still resistance fighters in the ruins and forests. Yes, his soldiers still died in ambushes. But the humans had no ships, no way to leave their planet, no way to truly threaten the Dominion. They were trapped animals, dangerous but doomed. He was completely wrong. Deep in the asteroid belt, far from any Dominion patrol, the shipyard called Forge Alpha hummed with activity. It was built into a massive asteroid, invisible from outside. Inside, thousands of humans worked day and night, building something that would change everything. Admiral Park walked through the main construction bay, watching the ship take shape. It was called Vengeance of Soul, and it was beautiful, sleek and deadly, built with a mixture of human engineering and stolen Dominion technology. It was the 47th ship in humanity's secret fleet. Was 52 years old now. His hair had turned gray. His body carried scars from a dozen battles. His sister had died in the Resistance 3 years ago, leading a group of civilians to safety when a Dominion patrol found them. He had not cried at her funeral. He had simply made a promise. Doctor appeared beside him, tablet in hand. She looked older too, but her eyes were still sharp. "The new engine design is working even better than we hoped," she said. "Our ships will be faster than anything the Dominion has." "Good," said. "What about weapons?" "We've improved on their designs. Our missiles carry smaller warheads, but our targeting systems are more accurate. And we've developed something they don't have: coordinated swarm tactics. Our ships will fight as one." Nodded, this was the key. The Dominion had bigger ships, more firepower, but they fought as individuals, each captain trying to claim glory. Humans would fight as a pack, coordinating their attacks, covering each other's weaknesses. Wolves hunting a bear. On another hidden base beneath the Pacific Ocean, Fleet Captain Lee trained her crew. She was 34 now, commander of the battleship Remembrance. The ship was named for everyone who had died. 40 million in the first attack, millions more when the moon was destroyed, countless others in the years of resistance. Ran her crew through combat simulations for 12 hours a day. They practiced fighting outnumbered. They practiced fighting damaged. They practiced fighting until the last ship was destroyed. The Dominion would learn that human ships never surrendered, never ran, never stopped fighting until they won or died. Commodore Menu was the tactical genius who designed their battle plans. He was a small, quiet man who had been a professional chess player before the invasion. Now he played a different game. "The Dominion expects enemies to fight defensively," he explained to the other commanders. "They're used to species that try to protect their homes. We're going to do the opposite. We're going to attack from everywhere at once. We're going to hit them where they don't expect it. We're going to make them afraid." The day of Operation Dawn arrived in spring of 2355, 8 years after the invasion began. Stood on the bridge of Vengeance of Soul, surrounded by his command staff. He looked at the faces of men and women who had spent years waiting for this moment. "All ships report ready," his communications officer said. "Good," opened a channel to the entire fleet. "This is Admiral Park. 8 years ago they came to our home, they burned our cities, they killed our families, they shattered our moon, they called us insects. Today the insects bite back. All ships, execute Operation Dawn." The human fleet emerged from hidden positions throughout the solar system. 47 ships attacking from 12 different directions at once. The Dominion occupation fleet had 60 vessels, but they were scattered, unprepared, confused. The battle for Earth began. Remembrance led a strike force against the Dominion command ship. Her crew fought with perfect coordination, each ship covering the others. The Dominion tried to respond, but their communications were jammed. Human electronic warfare was something they had never faced before. "Target their shield generators," ordered. "Let the Indomitable finish them." She had named her lead destroyer after Admiral's old ship. It felt right. The Dominion command ship's shields fell. A volley of missiles struck its reactor core. The explosion was visible from Earth's surface. Across the system, similar scenes played out. Human ships danced around their larger enemies, striking weak points, retreating before the Dominion could respond, then attacking again from another angle. The wolves were hunting and the bear was bleeding. Commodore Menu coordinated everything from his ship, the Silent Blade. His voice was calm as he directed dozens of engagements at once, seeing patterns that no one else could see. 3rd Squadron fall back to Point 7. 4th Squadron strike their supply ships now. 5th Squadron prepare to intercept their reinforcements. 4 hours into the battle, the Dominion commander ordered a retreat. His fleet had lost 23 ships. Humanity had lost 9. But the remaining Dominion ships did not get far. More human vessels emerged from the asteroid belt, cutting off their escape. The hunters had become the hunted. When the battle ended, not a single Dominion ship remained in the solar system. Stood on the bridge looking at Earth through the planet was still from years of occupation. The sky was different without the moon, but it was free. His communications officer spoke quietly. "Sir, we're receiving transmissions from the surface. The Resistance is reporting that Dominion ground forces are surrendering everywhere. People are coming out of hiding. They're celebrating in the streets." Nodded slowly. He should feel triumph. He should feel joy. Instead, he felt tired. So many people had died to reach this moment. So many friends. His sister, Admiral, millions of civilians who had done nothing wrong except exist on a planet the Dominion wanted. His voice came over the fleet channel. "Admiral, the last Dominion transport is running for deep space. Should we pursue?" Considered. Part of him wanted to destroy every Dominion vessel, to ensure none of them escaped to tell their masters what had happened. But another part of him wanted them to escape. He wanted them to carry a message back to the Dominion High Council. "Let them go," he said. "Let them tell their leaders what happened here. Let them know that humanity is coming." The transport fled into faster-than-light travel, carrying survivors and stories of impossible defeat. On the surface of Earth, people looked up at the sky for the first time in 8 years without fear. Some cried. Some laughed. Some simply stood in silence, unable to believe that the nightmare was ending. But for Admiral Park and the commanders of the United Human Navy, this was not an ending. It was a beginning. Dr. Examined captured Dominion star charts that showed 800 conquered worlds, thousands of ships, trillions of enslaved beings. "We freed Earth," she said, "but the Dominion is still out there. They'll come back eventually with a bigger fleet." Looked at the charts. He thought about his sister, about Admiral, about everyone who had died. He thought about the moon, hanging in pieces where it used to be whole. "Then we won't wait for them," he said. "We'll take the fight to them. We'll free every world they've conquered. We'll tear down their empire piece by piece." The United Human Council voted unanimously to continue the war. Earth was free. Now it was time to free the galaxy. The Dominion High Council did not believe the first reports. A primitive species had defeated their occupation fleet. Impossible. The scouts must be lying or insane. The Dominion had conquered 300 species over 12,000 years. Not once had a conquered world successfully rebelled. Then the humans attacked their first Dominion outpost, and the Council stopped laughing. Admiral Park led the first expeditionary fleet into Dominion space with a strategy that confused his enemies completely. He did not attack their strongholds or their shipyards. He attacked their slave worlds. The first was a planet called, home to a species of small, four-armed beings who had been conquered 2,000 years ago. They had no hope left. They worked in Dominion factories and mines, generation after generation, believing that slavery was simply the natural order of the universe. Then human soldiers dropped from the sky. Ambassador Shin was the first human they had ever seen. She was a tall woman with kind eyes and a voice that could calm a storm. Before the invasion, she had been a diplomat specializing in trade negotiations. Now she specialized in revolution. She met with the leaders in a factory basement, while forces fought the Dominion garrison above. "Who are you?" the eldest asked. "Why do you fight the Dominion?" "We are humans," said. 15 years ago the Dominion came to our world and tried to conquer us. They killed millions of our people. We fought back. We won. Now we're here to offer you a choice." A choice? Placed a weapon on the table. It was a human-made rifle, modified for hands. "You can stay as you are, slaves forever, or you can pick up this weapon and fight beside us. We don't want to rule you. We want to free you. We want you to rule yourselves." The elder stared at the weapon. In 2,000 years, no one had ever offered his people a choice. They had simply obeyed whoever was strongest. He picked up the rifle. Within a month, they had risen against their Dominion masters. Human soldiers trained them, armed them, and fought beside them. When the last Dominion soldier surrendered, they flew their own flag for the first time in two. Word spread through the Dominion slave networks. The humans were coming. The humans set worlds free. The second species to join was a race of tall, scaled beings who had once been fierce warriors before the Dominion broke them. Commander Minyu led the liberation of their personally. When he offered them weapons, they wept tears of joy. Then came a species of brilliant engineers who had designed much of the technology the Dominion now used against them. They joined eagerly, bringing technical knowledge that helped humanity improve its ships and weapons. More species followed. Each liberated world provided soldiers, ships, and hope. The coalition of free worlds grew from one species to 10, then 20, then 30. Admiral Lee commanded the Second Fleet, striking deep into Dominion territory to cut supply lines and destroy communication stations. Her tactics were brutal but precise. She killed soldiers who fought, but always offered surrender to those who would accept it. Not everyone accepted. Some Dominion commanders preferred death to the shame of losing to lesser species, gave them what they wanted. Others surrendered. These were separated from the war criminals and given a choice: prison or service in labor programs rebuilding what the Dominion had destroyed. Many chose to work. Some, over time, came to understand what their empire had truly been. The war lasted 6 years. 6 years of battles, of victories and defeats, of worlds freed and friends lost. The Battle of Prime was the turning point. The Dominion gathered 400 ships for a massive counterattack. They meant to crush the human fleet and push the coalition back to Earth. Their commander, High Admiral, had personally conquered 30 worlds. He would not lose to animals. Had 150 ships, human and others. He was outnumbered more than 2 to 1. "We should retreat," one of his captains suggested. "Find better ground." Shook his head. "If we retreat, they'll retake Prime. Millions of freed people will be enslaved again. We hold here." The battle began at dawn, though there was no dawn in space. The Dominion fleet advanced in their traditional wedge formation, confident in their numbers. The Coalition fleet did not retreat. They did not try to match the Dominion formation. Instead, they split into dozens of small groups, attacking from every direction at once. Commodore Minyu coordinated the chaos from the bridge of his new ship, the Dancing Star. His voice was calm as always, but his eyes were alive with focus. "Squadron, draw their left flank forward. Wing, prepare to strike their exposed rear. Human Third Fleet, hit their command ships now." The battle lasted 18 hours. 18 hours of constant fighting, of ships exploding, of crews dying. The Coalition lost 60 ships. The Dominion lost 200. When reinforcements finally arrived, collapsed into his chair. He had not slept in 40 hours. Around him, his crew cheered and wept. "Admiral," his communications officer said, "the Dominion fleet is retreating. They're falling back to their core systems." Nodded, he thought about all the battles, all the years, all the people who had died to reach this moment. "Send a message to the Coalition Council," he said. "The road to is open." Far across the galaxy, the Dominion High Council convened in emergency session. Their outer territories were lost. Their fleets were bleeding. Species they had enslaved were rising against them. For the first time in 12,000 years, they discussed negotiation. High Sovereign Prime, the absolute ruler of the Dominion, rejected the idea. "We do not negotiate with vermin," he declared. "We will gather every ship, every soldier, every weapon. We will crush these humans and their pets. The galaxy will remember what happens to those who challenge the Dominion." He did not know that a human spy had recorded his words. Ambassador Shin received the recording and played it for the Coalition Council. "He calls us vermin," she said. "He promises to crush us. He will never stop, never negotiate, never accept a galaxy where his species is not the master of all others." She looked around the room at representatives of 47 freed species. "There is only one way this war ends. We must go too. We must end the Dominion forever." The vote was unanimous. Admiral Park began planning the final campaign. The largest fleet in galactic history would assault the Dominion. Human ships would fight beside, and dozens of other species who had once been slaves. The slaves were coming to break their chains, and nothing in the galaxy would stop them. The Fleet of Liberation was the largest ever assembled in galactic history. 2,000 ships gathered at the edge of Dominion core space. Human vessels flew beside ships crewed by, and 44 other freed species. Each ship carried beings who had lost families, homes, and entire generations to the Dominion. They had come to end it. Fleet Admiral Park stood on the bridge of the Vengeance of Sol, now the flagship of the Coalition Navy. He was 60 years old, his hair white, his body worn by 20 years of war. But his eyes still burned with the same fire that had sparked when he watched the Dominion burn his. "All fleets report ready, Admiral," his communications officer announced. Nodded, he opened a channel to every ship in the fleet. "Warriors of the Coalition, 20 years ago, I was a young captain watching alien ships destroy my cities and murder my people. The Dominion told us to surrender. They told us we were insects. They broke our moon to prove their power." He paused, letting the memory settle. "Now we stand at the gates of their empire. We are here because they taught us something important. They taught us that tyrants only understand one language, force. They taught us that freedom must be taken, never given. And they taught us that when free people stand together, no empire can break them. Today we speak their language. Today we take our freedom. Today we break them." The fleet jumped to faster-than-light travel. The final battle had begun. Was a beautiful world, covered in gleaming cities and monuments to 12,000 years of conquest. Orbital stations circled it like jewels on a necklace. 2,000 Dominion ships defended it, the largest fleet they had ever gathered. Admiral Lee led the vanguard, commanding 500 ships in the first assault. Her fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel directly above the main orbital defense station. "All ships attack," she ordered. The battle was immediate and brutal. Dominion weapons tore into Coalition ships. Coalition missiles shattered Dominion defenses. In the first hour, 200 ships were destroyed on each side. Flagship the Remembrance took a direct hit that killed half her bridge crew. She kept fighting, blood running down her face from a cut on her forehead. "Forward batteries, target that dreadnought. Bring us around for another pass." She thought about the day she had become a resistance fighter, hiding in the ruins with nothing but hatred to keep her warm. She thought about her family, dead for 17 years now. She thought about every person the Dominion had killed, enslaved, or broken. Today she would honor them all. On the Dominion flagship, High Sovereign Prime watched the battle with cold fury. These creatures should have been crushed years ago. They should have accepted their place. Instead, they had united half the galaxy against his empire. "Concentrate fire on the human ships," he ordered. "Kill their leaders." But the coalition did not depend on single leaders. When one commander fell, another took their place. When one ship was destroyed, two more pressed the attack. The slaves the Dominion had spent breaking had learned to fight as one. Doctor was not on a warship. She was on a small infiltration vessel with a team of specialists from 7 different species. Their mission was critical: disable the planetary defense shields so coalition troops could land. Was 63 years old. She had spent her life turning Dominion technology against them. Now she would use it one last time. Her team landed on an undefended section of the planet, near a shield generator station. Dominion security was focused on the battle in space. No one expected an attack from the ground. They reached the control center after 3 hours of careful movement, connected her equipment to the Dominion systems, and began working. The code was complex, but she had spent 20 years studying it. "Come on," she whispered, "come on." The shields fell. Admiral saw the shield status change on his display. He allowed himself a small smile. "All troops begin landing operations. The way is open." Hundreds of landing craft descended toward. Coalition soldiers from a dozen species stormed the surface, fighting through streets that had never known war. The Dominion's home was burning for the first time in its history. The space battle continued for 3 weeks. Both sides took terrible losses. Lost her left arm when another hit destroyed her bridge. She had it sealed with emergency foam and kept commanding from a backup station. Minu, the tactical genius who had planned so many victories, was killed when his ship was rammed by a desperate Dominion captain. His last order was to press the attack. His crew obeyed. Slowly, inevitably, the coalition gained ground. Dominion ships surrendered in growing numbers. Their commanders saw that the war was lost and chose life over pointless death. High Sovereign Prime refused to surrender. In his final broadcast, he declared that the Dominion would never bow to lesser species. Admiral responded with a transmission that was recorded and would be remembered for centuries. "You attacked Earth first. You killed our children. You shattered our moon. You called us insects. Now we stand in your capital. Now your empire falls. You taught us this language of conquest. Do not be surprised that we learned to speak it better than you." The Imperial Palace was the last Dominion stronghold on the planet. Ambassador Shin walked through its gates beside soldiers from 12 different species. The sovereign was dead, killed by his own guards when he ordered them to destroy the city. The war was over. 3 months later, the Galactic Council held its first meeting. 62 species sent representatives. They gathered in a chamber built on the ruins of the Imperial Palace. Ambassador Shin spoke for the coalition. "We did not fight this war to replace one empire with another. We fought to end the idea that any species has the right to rule others. From this day forward, every world will determine its own future. Every species will be free." The former Dominion territories were dissolved. Species that had been enslaved would govern themselves. The coalition would remain as a defensive alliance, protecting the free worlds from any future tyrant. Admiral Park retired to Earth. He bought a small house overlooking the rebuilt city of Seoul. Every morning, he walked to a memorial that held the names of everyone who had died in the war. His sister's name was carved there, along with millions of others. He never stopped visiting. Admiral Lee became the first commander of the Galactic Peacekeeping Fleet. Her mission was to ensure that what happened to Earth, to hundreds of worlds, would never happen again. She commanded ships crewed by humans and every other freed species. Doctor led the Coalition Science Academy, working with minds from across the galaxy to advance technology for exploration and medicine instead of war. She lived long enough to see humanity's first ships reach other galaxies. On where the Dominion had ruled for 12,000 years, a monument was built. It was not a celebration of victory. It was a record of loss. Every world conquered, every species enslaved, every crime committed in the name of empire. At its base, an inscription was written in 1,000 languages. Human, every species that had suffered and survived. The inscription read, "They asked the humans to surrender. The humans asked, why should we? This is the answer." The stars no longer belonged to tyrants. They belonged to the free. And humanity, which had once been alone on a small blue world, now stood among the stars with allies beyond counting. They had learned the hardest lessons of the universe, that freedom must be fought for, that strength comes from unity, and that no enemy is too powerful if you refuse to give up. The Dominion had attacked Earth first. It was the last mistake they ever made.